Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Game Society, I call this The Tale of Acolyte of Saradyn.
This is going to be Acolyte of Saradyn. This is the first part of the campaign. We're doing the, let's see, what's it called? The Heirs of Blood. This is Act 1 right here. So the hero's job is going to be to defeat all the Barghasts up there. And then the Overlord wants to bring all of the goblins over here and start collecting fatigue, which when they get 7, so as long as they're messing up the defenses of the heroes, they end up winning right there. So that's the goals. There's another side quest where there's wounded villagers here that the hero who is holding the acolyte can pick them up with actions. So yeah, I'll get to that in a second. The first hero is Grisban The Thirsty right here. He is going to be their warrior. He has 3 speed, 14 health, 4 fatigue, and then his defense die, I believe that's like a white one, silver one. His hero ability, each time you perform a rest action, you may immediately discard 1 condition from yourself up there. And then the feat, which is like his ultimate, used during your turn, perform 1 attack action. This is in addition to your 2 actions on your turn. Right down here, he has 5 might, 2 knowledge, 1 awareness, 3 willpower. He starts with a chipped great axe because we decided berserker with this one right here. This does a blue die and a red die. You can search for doing extra damage right there. And he also has rage ability, perform an attack with a melee weapon. The attack gets to do 1 additional damage. This costs 1 fatigue. So that is Grisban the Thirsty. The next hero is Challara. She's going to be their mage class right here. She has 3 movement, 10 health, 5 fatigue, has a great defense die, has 3 might, 4 knowledge, 3 willpower, 1 awareness. Her hero ability, you have the Bright Blaze familiar at the beginning of each encounter. Place Bright Blaze in your space right here. That's this one right there. And then her heroic feat, perform an attack. Before the attack roll, you may move Bright Blaze to an empty space adjacent to your target. What does Bright Blaze do? He has 4 movements and he doesn't have any health or defense, so it's kind of like a spirit. He can kind of just move around and can't be targeted. But each attack targeting a monster adjacent to Bright Blaze gets Pierce 1, so that's good. She ends up going with Rune Master subclass. So she starts with an Arcane Bolt, which is just going to be a rune, takes both of her hands. She does a blue die and a yellow die for attacking, and she can surge to get more range and also pierce more. And then she has Runic Knowledge. Well, you have a magic or rune weapon equipped, which she does. Each of your attacks she can surge and suffer 1 fatigue to get 2 more damage. So that is. Next up, we have Tatianna for the scout class right here. She has 5 movement, 12 health, 4 fatigue, gets to roll a gray die for defense. She has 2 might, 2 knowledge, 2 willpower, 5 awareness. Her hero ability is each of your attacks gain +1 range. Each range attack that targets you gets -1 range, which is great. So she's going to be focused on bows. And then her heroic feat, which is like an ultimate. Use after defense dice are rolled against one of your attacks. Ignore the results from the die that rolled the most shields. So that's great. It's like a good piercing shot. And then she's going to go with the subclass right here, Wildlander. This one starts with a bow, gets to roll a blue and yellow die, and can surge to get 2 more range or also do 1 additional damage. This is great. Nimble is her starting basic skill. Each time a monster moves into a space adjacent to you, you may use this card to move 1 space. Then the monster may continue its activation, which is really strong. It costs 1 fatigue each time you use it. She has 4, but that's still fine. Like she can avoid being hit by like a melee monster or to get into position. Movement's always great. So that is Tatianna. Next up, we have Ashrian, which is going to be the healer class up here. She has 5 movement, 10 health, 4 fatigue, gets to roll a gray defense die. She has 2 might, 2 knowledge, 3 willpower, and 4 awareness. Her hero ability is when a minion monster begins its activation adjacent to you, it is stunned, which is great. And then her heroic feat, which is like an ultimate. Choose a monster within 3 spaces of you. Each monster in that whole monster group is stunned, which is also good. She's going to take the subclass right here of Spirit Speaker. She has Stone Skin. When you are a hero within 3 spaces of you are attacked, before dice are rolled, exhaust this card to add 1 additional gray die to that hero's defense pool. So that's a good defensive option. She starts with like a 2-handed oak staff. It has reach, so it's melee, but it can go up to 2 squares. It can surge to do an extra damage, and it has a blue and yellow die for attacking. That is Ashrian. Tatianna is going to take the first turn. She's going to move 5. 1, 2, 3. She's going to stay right here. She doesn't really want to get too close because then the goblin archers can shoot back at her. They still might be able to next turn, but then she's going to pass on her second action. Challara takes the next turn. She's going to move only 2 spaces instead of 3 because she has the Acolyte that she's holding. She's going to try to work towards grabbing the wounded villagers. She's going to move 1, 2 right here, and then she's going to go 1, 2 again. And then her familiar right here, the Bright Blaze, gets to move 4. He's going to move towards the bar guests over there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to want to reduce the armor shields of the bar guests because the goal is to actually defeat the bar guests. So that is both of her actions. Next up is Ashrian. She's going to move to the search token. She's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. She has to be adjacent to it. Her second action will be to search. So we flip this over. Nothing too fancy. If there's something fancy, we would read the rule book. We go ahead and grab a search card right here. So she gets a stamina potion. Flip this card over during your turn to choose your hero or an adjacent hero. That hero recovers all their stamina, and then this is worth 25 gold whether we use it or not. So it's going to go over into her play area. That's going to be really helpful. That is her turn. Grisban is going to go next. He has a movement of 3, so he's going to move 2 movements. Let's go 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go up there going towards the bar guests because that's the goal. But we still have to worry about the goblins because if the goblins grab enough fatigue here, the heroes lose. So that is the end of the hero's turn. At the beginning of the Overlord turn, he gets to draw a card. He's going to draw dash right there, allows one of his monsters to do an extra movement, and then he's going to activate all of the goblin monster group. So the first one's going to be the red one. This one can go up to 5, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's probably going to stay right there. That's good. And then its second action will be to attack. It gets to roll 1 blue die and 1 yellow die. So right there. Let's see if there's anything else. It has Scamper. It can surge. So different surges. All right, so we're going to go ahead and roll the dice and see what happens. Oops, that was these two. We go ahead and get 4 range, a surge, and 3 hearts. So it's going to decide, let's see if it can reach. 1, 2, 3, 4. Has to use a surge to get 2 more range, so it hits her, and it's going to do 4 damage. She gets to roll a gray die, so let's see what happens right here. That was going to be this one right here. So we get 1 defense for her. We also have Ashrian's power. When a hero within 3 spaces you attack before dice are rolled, well, I would have used this beforehand. Add 1 fatigue to go ahead and add another die. So Sharon's going to get a fatigue right there. And we're going to roll another die right here. We end up getting 4. So we block off the 3 health with the 4 defense. So no damage goes through. The next goblin that's going to move is this one up here. It's going to go 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to kind of try to attack. Who is this again? This is Grisban. Sorry, I had to check real quick. Go ahead and roll a blue die and a yellow die. We end up getting not enough range and 4 hearts, so that ends up being a miss because it has to get, we roll a 3, and that's not enough. This goblin is just going to move 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and not really use its second action. This one right here is going to go 1, 2, 3 right there, and it's going to attack Tatianna right here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have to get 4 on the numbers. So it's going to roll its blue and yellow right here. We got 1, 2, 3 right there, which is not close enough, but we can use a surge to get +2 range, and then another surge to do an extra 2 damage right there. Let's see if there's anything too special. Cowardly can only do its surges if it's within 3 of a master monster, which it is. The red one right there. So yeah, it's going to do, what was that in? 4 damage. Yeah, 1, 2 plus the surge, 3, 4 damage. Ashrian is close enough to use her ability again. So then Tatianna gets to roll the 2 gray defense dice. She's getting hit for 4. She blocks 2, so then she's going to take 2 damage to her health right here. That is the end of that goblin turn. 2 damage right there. Ooh, actually, each ranged unit has -1 range, but it's still enough because it was 5 range -1, so it's still within the 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then this last goblin is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess closer, 5. Still within 3 of its master. It's going to go ahead and roll the dice again. So we got the blue and yellow. Ends up being a miss. Overlord checks their cards. There's nothing really to do right now for a miss. So it's just going to end the goblin's turn right. The Overlord's going to activate the Barghest next. It's only going to have one of them come out, so it's going to be this one. It gets to move 4, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and then it's going to get to be able to like add an extra little space, for that's how like larger monsters get to move. And then those 3 are going to stay up there because the Overlord loses if they lose all of the Barghests, but they still kind of have to help the goblins get towards the caravan. The Barghest then takes its second action and moves 2 spaces up. There's going to be a plan for this next turn. The Overlord is scheming. So that is the end of the Overlord turn. The heroes have Grisban goes first. He's going to move up 3 and then attack the Barghest. He does move 1 space, and then the Overlord stops him and uses a tripwire here. He's going to have to test awareness. So we're going to go ahead and discard this for the Overlord, and then Grisban's awareness is 1, so he has to roll a black die and a gray die and get 1 or less shields. So we're going to go ahead and see what happens. We get 4, so let's see the consequence. I shouldn't have discarded this right here. The consequence is he must end his movement action, but he can still suffer fatigue to move or use a second action to move, so this was the Overlord's plan. He is then going to suffer 2 fatigue over here to move up 2, 1, 2. So we can go ahead and put the 2 fatigue onto Grisban right there. And he's going to use Rage. Perform an attack with a melee weapon. This attack gets +1 more damage. We're going to go ahead and put another fatigue on to use that. His weapon gets to roll a blue and a red. And then we have some surge options with the chipped great axe. So let's see what we get. A blue and a red. Let's see. We end up getting right here. This is what we end up getting. So that is 2 damage, which is not that good. We get 1 more damage for this, so this is 3 damage. The Barghests get to roll a gray die for defense, so let's see what it gets. It gets 1 right there. So we end up making this Barghest lose 1 health, so we're going to go ahead and put 1 health next to it. These Barghests in this scenario have +2 health, so this one will have 6 total, so it has 5 remaining. So that is the end of Grisban's turn. Challara gets to go next. She's going to have Bright Blaze go first. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. So then people will get to do ignore 1 shield when that Barghest rolls it, or anyone adjacent to the Bright Blaze. And then she's going to, she has -1 movement for having the Acolyte, go 1, 2, and then her second action to grab this villager right here. That is the end of her turn. Tatianna gets to go next. She has to start making some shots at the goblins, so she's going to attack this first goblin right here. She gets +1 range, so she only needs to roll a 2 on her range. She gets a blue and a yellow with her bow. So let's see what she gets. She ends up getting enough range, so it's like 6, 7 with her special abilities. She's doing 3 damage right there. The goblin gets to roll 1 gray defense die. Ends up getting a 1 defense right there. The goblins have 2 health, so this goblin is defeated for now. There is a reinforcement phase later on for the Overlord, but this is good news because they can't have goblins reaching the caravan tile right here. She's going to take another shot at this goblin. Since she gets 1 range, she only needs the number 3. So she's going to go ahead and roll the blue die and the yellow die again. See if she gets enough range. She does. She has a lot of surging she can do. She's going to do an extra damage there. So she's doing 3 plus 1 more heart, so 4 damage. The goblin gets to roll 1 die here. It ends up being nothing. So that goblin ends up getting defeated as well. So we'll take that off the map for now. And Tatianna has extra surge to spend. She could have recovered a fatigue, but she doesn't need to. She hasn't used any. So that is the end of her turn. Ashrian gets to go next. She's going to move 5. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then she's going to use 1 fatigue to move 1 more. She's probably going to go, let's see, she does have reach. So actually, she doesn't. She's actually going to stay put and not use the fatigue. She's going to use her staff, oak staff here. Gets to roll a blue and a yellow. Let's see what they get. And then I guess I can roll the goblin at the same time. The goblin gets to roll a gray die right here. So we end up getting a miss. This is pretty bad. We can't do anything with that. So the attack is a complete whiff. That is the end of Ashrian's turn. The Overlord gets to go next and gets to draw a card. It drew a pit trap. So it's going to set up a bigger turn. So we are going to use Word of Misery. Play this card at the start of your turn. During this turn, each time a hero suffers any damage, he also suffers 1 fatigue in addition to the damage they suffered. So yeah, I'm going to put this over here just to remind me that there's extra fatigue that's being suffered. All right, and then the Overlord is going to do the Goblin turn first. So right here, we're going to start with this one. It's going to move, let's see, 5 as Scamper, so it can go past Grisban. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will then shoot at Grisban. It gets to roll a blue and a yellow. It's trying to get 2 range. Grisban gets to roll a gray die, so we'll roll that at the same time. So we're looking for 2 range for the Goblin right there. All right, let's see. We got that and that. So Grisban gets a defense right here. We can't use any surges because of Cowardly right up there. It has to be within 3 of a master to be able to use surges. So it's going to do as enough range. So 2 hearts -1. So Grisban takes a damage right here. And then because of the Word of Misery, he also suffers a fatigue, which is pretty painful. Grisban is now filled up on fatigue, and he'll have to rest to get rid of that. All right, so that is the Goblin turn right there. Next up, we're going to use this red goblin here. He gets to move, let's see, the movement is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. It's now in the caravan, so at the end of the Overlord turn, we're going to get 1 point for the Overlord. Goblin is going to then attack. Let's attack Tatianna right here. Only needs a range of 2. It gets to roll a yellow die and a blue die. Tatianna gets to roll a gray die as well. And then, is there any special abilities? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Ashrian's going to use fatigue right here to use the ability Stone Skin to allow Tatianna to roll another gray die. All right, we're going to go ahead and roll them. Trying to actually get 3 range because of Tatiana's hero ability. Tatianna got 2 defense right over here. 2 defense. Let's see. The Master Goblin Archer got to 3, so the range is good. Has 2 surges to use. It's doing 2 damage against the 2 shields, so nothing. But the Overlord's going to use Critical Blow to use a surge to do 3 more damage. So we're doing 5 damage now, and using the other surge to do 2 more damage right here. So 7 damage minus the 2. Tatianna takes a huge hit of 5, as well as also loses a fatigue for the Word of Misery. So that's pretty painful. Turn right there. So that is that goblin's turn. And then this goblin gets to go up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to go right here. It's going to shoot Tatianna right here. It needs 1, 2, well, 3 because of her special ability. So she's going to go ahead and roll her 1 die. The goblin also gets to roll a blue and a yellow. Let's see, we end up getting a shield. We got this. We have more than enough range with the 4. So let's put that up there. So the range is good. We're doing 3 damage against Tatianna's 1, 6, 7. So she has 5 health left. So 3 damage. We can surge because we're close enough to the master to do 1 more damage. So 4 minus 1. So she takes 3. So this goes up to, we'll exchange these. She has 2 health left, which is pretty rough right there. That is the end of the goblin activation. The Overlord's going to activate the bar guests next. These 2 are going to stay up there, but this one's going to gets to move 4. So let's go like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it gets to like swivel over there. So it's going to go down to over there and just stay there. This one's going to attack Grisban. It gets to roll, let's see, a red and a blue. So red and a blue, and we're going to roll Grisban's gray die along with it. Let's see what goes on here. I was just checking the Overlord cards to see if there's anything important. Ooh, this attack ends up being a miss. I'm going to see if there's anything the Overlord can do. No, there is nothing, so that attack is a complete miss, which is good for Grisban. It's then going to use Howl. Howl right here on the top. Each hero within 3 spaces, a monster must test willpower. All right, so Grisban has 3, so it has to get a 3 or less on the shields for a black and a gray die. So attribute test right here. All right, so Grisban succeeds, so there's no issue there. That is the end of the Overlord turn, but because he has 1 goblin in the caravan tile 9A right here, he gets 1 fatigue, which if he gets 7, he wins the scenario. So we're just going to put that right up there. And also, at the end of the turn, 2 goblins get to reinforce right over here on this tile. It's the layer, so it's going to put 1 right here and another one right there. So yeah, remember the goal for the Overlord is to have goblins attack the caravan, basically make the heroes draw back. That's how they win. And then the heroes have to defeat the Barghasts over there. But the Overlord does want to use some of them to do some attacks. All right, that's the end of the turn. All right, Challara is going to go next. She's going to use her Arcane Bolt on this goblin right here. The goblin gets a gray defense die. She gets a blue and a yellow. So let's see what she rolls. She needs 3 for range. She got the range. The goblin got no defense, so this is going to do 3 damage. She doesn't need to use any of her surges to do like pierce or extra range. She can recover a fatigue, but she doesn't have anything to lose. But the goblin is taken out right there, so that's gone. So that's the first action. The second action, she could attack here. 1, 2, 3. She probably should. She can move up to try to also collect the other villager later on, but like Tatiana's looking pretty rough, so I feel like she does have to kind of help right here. So she needs to get, like I said, 1, 2, 3 range. All right, so it's the same dice. Is there anything else we can do? Let's see. We have knowledge. Well, you have a magic or rune weapon equipped. Each of your attacks gains. Oh, suffer 1 to get 2 more damage. Okay, so we have a lot of surge options for damage. This goblin has 4 health. Let's see what we get. We are doing, let's see, 1, 2, 3 damage. The range is good, so we have 3 damage. We don't have any surges, which stinks, and then we have 1 defense for the goblin. So the goblin's going to lose 2 health, so go ahead and put 2 health next to this one right there. So that is the end of Chalara's turn. Grisban is going to go next. He's going to do an attack on the Barghast right there. He gets the roll with his chipped axe, a blue and a red. He has some surges for additional damage. He can't use rage because he's full on his fatigue, so he's thinking about resting, but maybe not right now. So, all right, 1 red, 1 blue. Barghast gets to roll a gray die. So let's see what we get. Oh, sorry, they went all over the place. We got 2 defense right here for the Barghast. All right, it has, let's see, 5 health left. I know it says 4 up there, but they get 2 more for the scenario. Let's see, we got 3, 4 damage. I guess we can just do Surge for 5. So 5 minus the 2, so he takes 3 damage. See right there. That leaves him with 2 health left. I think Grisban's going to use his heroic feat right there. So we're going to flip this over to do another attack. This is like an extra attack right here. So he's going to flip that over to show that he used it. Let's put these all back on. So yeah, same deal. Let's roll the dice and see what happens. We got 3 defense for the Barghest, which is not good, but we do have this right here. So that's 3, 4, 5. 5 with the Surge, so 6 minus the 3. The Barghest is taken out. This is huge right there. That is one of the victory conditions. He then has another action. He's going to end up doing a rest action. I'm just going to remove it now, but at the end of the hero's turns, he will rejuvenate all his fatigue. So he can start using rage again and get extra movement with the fatigue. So that is the end of Grisban's turn. Tatianna is going to go next. She's going to attack this Master Goblin right here. She gets 1 blue and 1 yellow for her bow. The Goblin gets to roll a gray defensive die. Let's see what happens. She only needs to roll a 1 on the range. So she got the range right here. So that's going to be 2 health and a surge. Minus 1 defense. So we have to do 1 more health some sort of way. We're going to use the surge right here on this bow to do 1 more damage to defeat this goblin. So this goblin is taken out right there. And then her next action is going to be to shoot this goblin. She also only needs to roll 1 range on the die because she gets plus range on her hero ability. So same situation, rolling the same dice with the bow. She ends up getting, let's see, right here. This looks like it should be enough. No. Ooh, this is a rough call. She doesn't want to use it yet, but so far we have 2 surges. She doesn't need more range. She can do 1 more damage, but then that's against the 2. It doesn't do anything. We can use her heroic feat. It's kind of a waste, but honestly, considering they were getting overwhelmed here and she's almost defeated, I mean, she can heal up, but like this is not good. She's going to use her heroic feat to ignore the die and then use one of the surges to do 2 damage, and the other surge is unspent, so she gets to recover a fatigue right there. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's flip her card over. Not the best use, but I guess it works out. Bring back 10 wounds she has. And then this goblin gets removed as well. Right. That is the end of Tatianna's turn. Ashrian is going to take the final turn. She's going to move 1, 2 next to this Barghest. She does have reach with her oak staff, but she wants to use her stunning hero ability. And then her second action, she will attack with a blue and, a yellow. And then the Barghest gets a gray defensive die. All right, let's see what he gets right here. Oh, this is very good. Well, it's okay, I guess. I always forget that the numbers are range. So no defense, but 2 attack. So this Barghest receives 2 damage points, 2 wounds right there. And that is the end of Ashrian's turn. At the beginning of the Overlord turn, he draws a card. He gets Frenzy. This allows an extra attack. He still has like the Pit Trap. He gets like a free surge if he needs it, and then a double movement. He's going to activate the goblins first. The goblins are just trying to get to this caravan spot. They're kind of just throwing themselves as a little fodder. They could play more defensively if they want, but that's the only way the Overlord wins. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have Scamper, so they can move past. So it's going to go right here. It's going to attack Grisban right here. Grisban gets a gray defense die. The Goblin Archer gets a yellow and a blue. They cannot use any surges because it's not within 3 spaces of a mastery unit. That is a miss right here, so that does nothing. All right, that is the end of that Goblin turn. This Goblin, let's see what they're going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of an awkward spot. let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, I guess, well, 1, 2, 3. Just 3? I wonder if it wants to go the other way. It might go the other way. If it goes the other way, it can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and get pretty close. That's possible. No, we're going to have to go over here. I think it's better. 1, 2. Needs to roll 2 range on Ashrian. She gets 1 gray defense die. The goblin gets a yellow and a blue. So let's see what happens down the tower. All right. Ashrian got 3 defense dice. The goblin cannot surge because still not by a master units. Got 3 damage. Unfortunately, can't use the surge. 3 minus 3, so nothing happens there. So this is not looking good for the Overlord. He doesn't really want to use any extra cards right now, so it's going to end the goblin activation. The Overlord then activates the Barghest. This one is going to attack Ashrian right here. It gets to attack with a red die and a blue die, and Ashrian gets a gray defense die. Let's see what happens. We get 3 defense for Ashrian. She's been rolling really good. And then we have 3 damage right here and a surge. This is the regular one, so we can do 1 more damage. So we will do 4 damage with the surge minus the 3. So she receives 1 wound right here, which isn't too bad. And then this is going to move back 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then swivel around. Let's go right here. There's no need to get the Barghests in trouble. This is how the Overlord loses. These two are going to stay right where they are right now. I think they're fine as is. So that is the end of the Overlord turn. He gets to spawn 2 more goblins. So we're going to put this one like up here. And then this other goblin right over there. So yeah, that's the end of the Overlord turn. Challara is going to go next. She's going to go right here with her movements. And then she's going to use her second action to grab this villager token. So that's going to be a reward for later. She's the one to Acolyte so they can heal up. And then she's going to use Bright Blaze to move. Actually, Bright Blaze seems to be fine right there. So it's going to stay right there for Grisban. That's the end of Chalara's turn. Grisban is going to go next. He's going to attack this goblin. He's not going to use anything special. He's just going to use this chipped great axe. He gets to roll a red and a blue. The goblin gets to roll a gray defense die. So let's see what happens. All right, we ended up getting, let's see, 4 damage. But then the goblin has 3 defense there. This is actually pretty bad. This was probably the worst case scenario. So that's only 1 health. I'm trying to see if there's anything he can do. Oh, there is. There is Bright Blaze next to him, which reduces 1 of the shield, which is then enough to take out the goblin archer. That is pretty good that he didn't have to waste another action attacking. He's going to use a second action to search. Nothing special, which is good. So he gets to draw a search card. Let's see what we get here for him. He gets nothing. Discard this card. Not his luck right now for this turn. All right, so that is the end of Grisban's turn. Ashrian's going to go next. She's going to take a fatigue right here to go up to 4. She's going to move right up here. And then her first actual action will be to search. So we're going to go ahead. All right, so we get a search item from the deck. She gets, let's see what it is, a health potion. Flip this card over to choose your hero or an adjacent hero. The hero recovers all health. That is really good. She's going to need this right now. She's then going to flip over the stamina potion. You still get the gold value even if the item is flipped over. So that's going to recover all the stamina. Is that actually an action? That's not an action right there. She's then going to use her second action over here to attack the goblin. She gets to use her oak staff for a blue and yellow against the gray. So we're going to go ahead and see what rolls out. Oh, they went all over the place. All right, so she got 3 damage right here, no surges against the 2 defense right here. Unfortunately, there's nothing she can do, so the goblin loses 1 health over here. She's really hoping to take it out. So that is both of her actions. She is done with her turn. Tatianna is pretty low on health, but she has to help somehow. She can move up like 5 and grab the health potion and use it, but then she's exposed to everything. The more I'm thinking about it, maybe that's actually fine. I think that's actually a good play. The other play, or other plays I was thinking of, she can go right here, be within 3 for the Stone Skin ability. She can then shoot this goblin, probably take him out. He has 1 health left. She can also go right here, get pretty close, which is away from the Barghest. He can't move. I think the Barghest can get like over here. It's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then flip over, so can't get to her. This goblin could go over here and then shoot her, but then she would have the defense Stone Skin from Ashrian. Sorry, I had to think about that real quick. All right, but I think we're going to go with the potion play. So she's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. And then at the end of the movement, the health potion gets traded to her. And then she's going to use her second action to recover all of her health right there. I think this just opens up a lot of options. She doesn't have to worry about getting KO'd anytime soon. You don't have to worry about reviving. That is her whole turn, so it is kind of rough for that. But yeah, that's the end of the hero's turn. The Overlord is going to activate the Barghests first. So this one is going to go, gets to move 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's going to swivel over to get over there. I just looked up the ruling for Nimble on Tatianna to see if she could spend fatigue to move away when a monster enters a space. But because of how large monsters move, they pick a square and that's their movement. And the movement technically ends right here and then expands or swivels over to this spot. She doesn't have a chance to use Nimble. I'm going to go with, I mean, that is the ruling that the designers talked about. I had to look it up. So here's the Nimble right here. Then the monster may continue its activation. So that would have been good for her. So this is bad. So then the Barghest is going to attack Tatianna. We're going to use Stone Skin with the Ashrian. So that exhausts. She gets a fatigue right here. So then Tatianna gets to roll an extra gray defense die. The Barghest gets to roll, let's see, it's the normal one, so it gets to roll a blue and a red. So let's see what happens here. I'm checking the Overlord cards to see if there's anything special that it wants to use. It can get like a surge. Nothing crazy right here. We got this, which allows them to re-roll a die. All right, let's see. So the search tokens. We got 3 defense here for Tatianna. So she gets her 3 defense. We then had the, let's see, 4 hearts and a surge. So let's see what the surge up here allows another heart. So that's 5 minus the 3. So she loses 2 health. It was good that she used Stone Skin, or that Ashrian used Stone Skin on her. All right, so then the Overlord is thinking real quick. I could go in with another attack. I don't know how useful it would be. Maybe it'd be useful. Yeah, it's going to go ahead and use another attack. Frenzy attack right here. Actually, I could save it for the goblins. Like at least the red master minions, because they can do more damage. So yeah, we're just going to hold off. So that's that Barghest turn. The other Barghest, the master one's going to stay up there. The other one could start joining, but if they lose them, that's kind of how the Overlord loses the game. So it's going to stay put up there. I think 2 of them in the corner is a good spot to be in. So that is the end of the Barghest activation. The Overlord's going to activate the goblins next. This goblin next to Ashrian starts stunned right here. So the first action is actually has to discard this token to get unstunned. And then it can attack and then not move, or just move to try to gather points. It's going to try to waste some time. So I think it is going to try to move. It has Scamper, so it can go past enemies, which is the heroes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to go over here. This is just going to probably not do too much, but if they roll bad, the goblin can go over here and start scoring some fatigue or victory points for the Overlord. All right, this next master minion goblin up here is probably going to also try to start getting close. Let's go with 1, 2. How much movement does it get? It gets 5, 2, 3, 4. Can't do anything there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the water's kind of a pain for this goblin right here. The Overlord could use a dash, which is nice. So yeah, I think the Overlord might end up using a dash. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess, in this corner. So this corner right here. It's thinking about who it attacks. It doesn't really matter. They both have the same defense. So I guess it's going to go for Ashrian because it's closer. It doesn't really need to roll any range. So it's going to go ahead and roll 1 blue and 1 yellow. And Ashrian gets to roll a gray defense die. Let's see what we get. All right, so we got a surge here. So 1 defense for Ashrian. Let's put this up here. Let's take note of this over here. So this is the Master Goblin. The range is more than enough, so it's doing 2 damage, surge, so that's 4 damage. I'm looking at the Overlord cards to see if there's anything. No, nothing at all. No rerolls, nothing that we want to use. So 4 damage minus the 1, which is really good. So 3 health goes to Ashrian. So she's going to go ahead and take 3. Let's go ahead and place those right now. 1, 2, 3. And then I think the Overlord, so did a movement, did an attack, is going to then dash, so another movement. So that gets to go up to 5 spaces. Let's see if this is going to be useful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess it doesn't really... No, we're not going to actually use the dash because it doesn't get anywhere useful. We're going to go to the last goblin right here. Let's see if this can actually do anything useful. So it gets to move 5 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this is going to probably be useful. This goblin is going to attack Grisban right there. Let's see, Grisban's looking pretty good though. So it gets to roll 1 yellow, 1 blue. Grisban gets to roll a gray defense die right there. So let's see what happens. The goblin cannot use surges because it's not near a master monster, but it rolled 4 hearts, minus 1. That was a really good attack, so Grisban loses 3 life. That was really not good for Grisban. 1, 2, 3. He does have 14, so it's not like the worst. Right there. Now we're going to use the dash. This makes more sense to get 5 movement. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Like, I guess 4, 5, just to go over there. All right, so that's pretty good. So at the end of the Overlord turn, it's going to get another fatigue. That will be the second one. So we have the 1 fatigue up there. All right, so that's everything. Let's see if there's anything else we can do. No, so at the end of the turn, get 1 fatigue right there. And we get to spawn 2 more of these goblins. Just go right here and right here. Overlord's looking pretty good right now. All right, Chalara's going to go first. She's going to activate her Arcane Bolt to attack this goblin right over here. It's pretty good. She has a lot of options for surging, so she gets to roll. One second, I have to flip over the turn summary card so I know who went next. 1 blue, 1 yellow, and the goblin gets 1 gray defense die. So let's see what happens. She needs to get range 4. So she does. She gets the 4 range. So let's go ahead and drag this over here so we have it all in view. All right, 4 minus 2, that's enough. So she can surge, but none of these surges matter. So she can use a surge to remove a fatigue, but she doesn't have any to remove. So yeah, the goblin's gone. This was great. Actually, I completely did that wrong. The range is good. It's doing 2 damage against the 2 defense, so no damage. She's going to surge, suffer fatigue to do 2 more damage, which is enough to take out the goblin. So I completely did that wrong at first. I got tricked by the numbers. All right, so the goblin is gone, which is good for them. And then she only has 2 movement because she's carrying the Acolyte. She's going to go 1, 2, be within range of that villager, but she does have to kind of like go up there and start helping. So that is the end of her turn. Before she ends her turn, she's going to move Bright Blaze 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4 right here on the goblin, under the goblin. It's like a familiar that can do that. So this will now give Pierce 1 for any attacks against anyone adjacent to Bright Blaze. All right, that's the end of her turn. Grisban is going to go next. He has 3 movement. He's going to move up to the goblin. He goes one space, but then the Overlord's going to activate a trap, pit trap. So Grisban has to test that is awareness. Grisban has 1 awareness, so he has to get 1 or less shields on a black and a gray die attribute test. He does not get it, so let's see the punishment. If he fails, he loses 1 heart and 1 movement point. So he takes his hearts. Let's actually exchange that for a 5. Give me a second, they're being all fiddly. So that goes off. We grab the 5 right there. He has only 1 more movement point left, which is a shame. So he goes up there. He did not want that. He wanted to attack this turn. So now he has to think what he wants to do. He should still get close, but yeah, there's nothing other than like another movement. He's going to try to see if he can stay away from these 1, 2, 3. They both, I believe, have movement of 4. So yeah, no, they can 2, 3, 4. They can both get to him. He'll just go, because he does want to plan for next turn. 1, 2. If he goes here, that's kind of a good spot to lock a lot of stuff. He has 9 health left. All right, so he's going to go 1, 2. I think that should be okay. So that is the end of his turn. All right. Tatianna is going to go next. She's going to attack this regular white goblin. She gets to roll a blue and a yellow for her bow. Goblin gets to get a green, gray defense die. Constantly doing that right there. She doesn't need, well, I guess she only needs like 1 more range. So she has plenty of range. She's doing 2 damage, but no surges. Goblin doesn't lose any health. That's pretty bad. She has to use her second action to go again. She has to get rid of this goblin. She did not want that to happen, but here you go. All right, she has enough range now. Still, she just needed 1 more. So she does 3 hearts minus the 1 shield. The goblin loses 2. I already had lost 1 health, so this goblin is knocked out. That was kind of a rough turn for Tatianna. She was hoping to get rid of this goblin, then start attacking that one, so that's the end of her turn. Ashrian's going to take the last turn. This has 4 more health left, so she's going to try to take it out. So she's going to attack with the oak staff, which is just a blue and a yellow right there. And the Barghest gets to roll a gray defensive die. So let's see what happens. She got, oh, this is pretty good. 2 damage and then a surge. So let's see what the surge can be. And then no defense. Surge for an extra, so 3 health on this Barghest right here. So that has 1 health left. She's then going to use her second activation to attack again. She just has to do 1 damage. So let's see what happens here. Oh, that's painful. That is a miss, no matter what happens. All right, so the miss is the end of her turn. That was not good. But at least she's next to them and they'll start stunned, so they each lose an action. But yeah, that was pretty painful. All right, that's the end of the hero's turn. The Overlord takes their next turn and draws a poison dart. This is a trap for if one of the heroes opens a door or searches. There's only like 1 search left up there. It's unlikely it's going to happen, but it will be a very good one if it does. All right, so then they also have to think about what they want to do. They want to activate the, let's see, the goblins first. So this one's going to start stunned. Let me grab the stun card if I can find it real quick, because it's next to Ashrian. That's her special ability. All right, so that has to waste an action to get rid of this. So that's the first action. And then the goblin's going to use its second action to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no need for it to attack or stick around. They just need to gather fatigue here at the caravan tile. All right, this goblin is going to use 2 movement actions, so 10. Let's see if we can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's really good. It's going to accumulate 1 fatigue point towards the victory for the Overlord. This goblin is going to think about it real quick. Let's see if there's any good cards over here. Just extra surge, double attack, reroll, and then the trap. That's probably not going to happen. It's probably just going to move an attack. So 1, 2. Wait, I can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go down right here. Let's go ahead and attack Ashrian. So get the roll 1 blue, 1 yellow. Ashrian gets a gray defensive die. She can use an extra stone skin if she wants, but she's going to, I guess she'll hold off just in case. We'll see what happens here. She got 1 defensive die. There is the miss right here and a surge. 1, 2, 3. The goblin is within 3 of the master, so it can use surges. So we're going to use the Overlord card. Where is it? It is right here, Dark Fortune, to re-roll that blue die. So that goes over in the discard. So we're going to go ahead and re-roll this. Let's move these out of the way. Ooh, we end up getting 2 hearts and a surge. So let's see what this basic goblin can do with the surge. Just an extra heart. So that's 3 hearts minus the 1. So that's 2 health. Ashrian now has 6 wounds on her right there. It's not good. She now wanted probably to use the stone skin, but she still has it. You're going to use it once per turn because of it exhausting. All right, so that is the end of the goblin activation. The Overlord activates the Barghest now. This one starts off stunned again because it starts off next to Ashrian's hero ability. So it has to use an action to get rid of this card right here. It then uses its second action to attack Ashrian. It gets a red and a blue die. The red is slightly more damage than the yellow die. And then Ashrian gets her 1 gray. She's going to use Stone Skin right there. Add a fatigue to her right over here. Oops, sorry. Then she gets another gray die. She does not want to get knocked out here. All right, she ends up getting 2 gray defensive dice. So let's put them right up over here. And then the Barghest rolled just 3 damage. So Ashrian takes 1 health. She has 3 left. This normally would be the second and final action for the Barghest. It's going to use the Overlord Frenzy right here. So another attack. So that's going to go down there. Ashrian can't use Stone Skin ability again, so it's going to go ahead with 1 less die. So let's see what happens. This is rough for Ashrian. All right, so this is not looking good. Ashrian rolls a miss. This is going to be, let's see, 3 damage plus another surge. The surge doesn't really matter. This is enough to take out Ashrian. So what happens is Ashrian gets her health or wounded all the way up fully to her max. So let's go ahead. She's not like killed per se. She just has to have someone revive her with an action right here. Sorry, I'm looking for the 5. And then the fatigue actually fills up to max. And then give me a moment while I go dig up the token for her on the map. All right, so she gets replaced with this token until she gets revived or someone heals up at least 1 health. But yeah, that was pretty rough for the heroes. The other Barghests, they could potentially move and start attacking Grisban, but the Overlord knows that they lose if they overextend. But they're going to go ahead and probably do it with just this one right here. So it's going to go 1, 2. It's thinking if it can get to a spot away from the familiar. I don't think it can. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. All right, so it's just going to end up going right here. And it's going to use its second action to attack Grisban. So it gets 1 red and 1 blue die right there. Grisban gets 1 gray. So we end up with another miss. So Overlord's having some bad luck right now. And then the last master one, I think it's going to stay up there. It doesn't want to lose that one. It doesn't really need to go. It could go in there, like right slot right here and attack, but there's no need to. So the Overlord ends its turn. It gets 1 fatigue for this goblin right here. And it gets to spawn 2 more goblins for reinforcements right here. And right over here. That's technically an empty space, even though it's a familiar. So this is looking good for the Overlord. It's end of the turn. I forgot to mention it, but with this little expansion, their plot cards, 1 hero got defeated, so the Overlord gets a threat token. You can get 1 per hero defeated, so I put a rune to remind me which one got defeated. Tatianna is going to go first. She's going to res Ashrian. Ashrian gets to roll 2 red dice, so let's see what she gets to recover. She gets to recover 4 health and no fatigue, so this goes over here. This goes down to a 1 or 1 wound, so she has 6 wound. This gets to go back onto the field over here. All right, so she is now up, which is better than nothing. Still looking pretty good. And then she has to decide who to attack. She has a lot of options. She can try to get this goblin. He has 4 health, so it's pretty rough. This one's going to be dealt by Challara, hopefully, so can't deal with that one. She can just get rid of the Bark guest right here. Just finish off that, or maybe get this goblin, because that goblin's probably going to run down here. So it's a pretty rough choice. I think she's going to attack this goblin because she's hoping Ashrian can get the Barghest and then that goblin. Like, this is a long shot, so she needs to get 3 range, but she gets +1, so only 2 range. She rolls a blue and a yellow. The goblin gets to roll a gray die. All right, so the goblin rolled 2. She also rolled enough range with the 3, so let's see what surges she can do. She is right up over here. All right, 2, so she's doing 3 damage on the 2. That's not enough. She can add 1 more damage, and that's about it. That would be, yeah, she'll surge and then end up doing 2 damage to this goblin. Guess it's better than nothing. And then after she did the revive, that is the end of her turn right there. All right, Ashrian's going to go next. She's going to attack the Barghest with her oak staff. She gets to roll a yellow and a blue against the gray. So let's see what happens here. All right, this is looking pretty good. Let's see what her surge is, just plus damage. So she's doing 1, 2, 3, and 2 surges against the 1. So it's going to do 2 damage. She's going to use a surge to do 4. So 4 damage against the 1. Barghest is going to lose 3 health. It has 1 left, so it's going to get defeated. And then the second unused surge can get rid of a fatigue, which is good for the stone skin soon. So that was a pretty good turn. The Barghest is defeated. This one will not be coming back. That is not part of reinforcements. And then she's going to use her second turn to attack this goblin right here. So same deal, same dice all the way around. So let's see what happens. All right, so she's doing, let's see, 1 damage against the 2 defense. Surge would be 2 damage against 2 defense. This is not really good. Yeah, I guess she'll use her unused surge to get rid of another fatigue, but she's really hoping to take out the goblin here. That's pretty rough. So that is the end of her turn. Grisban gets to go next. He's going to attack the goblin right there, which has Bright Blaze, so there's going to be Pierce 1, so 1 less shield. He gets to use his chipped axe, which gets to roll a blue and a red against the gray. So let's see what happens. He's actually going to use Rage, so plus 1 more damage for a fatigue. Yeah, that's fine. That seems good. So plus 1 damage already. Let's see what he rolls. Oof, that is brutal. He misses right there. That is not good. That is looking like a disaster for the hero turn. He's going to go again on the goblin. Same deal. Actually, he's going to think about it because maybe Challara can take out both goblins here. It's like, I feel like that's what they kind of have to go. But if he doesn't take out that goblin, it can kind of scoop by and start gathering more points. So yeah, this is pretty rough decision. He also wants to take out the Barghest because that's how they win the game. I think he's going to decide to, I guess he needs 1 more turn to bother dealing with the goblin. So yeah, he's going to go ahead and attack the goblin right there. It's 1 red and 1 blue. Same deal as before. He will, let's see, also use the rage. So automatically get an extra damage. So let's see what rolls. Another miss. All right, there you go. The dice don't lie. All right, so that's the end of Grisban's turn. All right, Challara gets to take the last turn for the heroes. She's going to attack with Arcane Bolt. She has to get, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She's going to attack that goblin. She kind of has to deal with both goblins, and she's going to do it in this order because Bright Blaze is over here first. Then she's going to use her ultimate, or I guess they call it the feat, to move Bright Blaze over here to take out that one, hopefully. This is kind of like a long shot, so let's see if she gets 6 range. So blue and yellow die against the Goblin Archer's gray defense die. So let's see what happens. All right, so this is not enough range, which is unfortunate, but let's see if we can do anything about it. We cannot, because it's going to be 4 range plus One more range would be 5, which is still not enough. That stinks. It was close. It would have done real well too. So she's just going to have to go ahead and use her heroic feat on this one. So Bright Blaze gets to move. Hold on, let me see it right here. Bright Blaze gets to move all the way next to an adjacent empty spot. And then it's going to choose this spot, I guess, like right here. Kind of covers kind of almost everything over there. And then she gets to perform an attack. All right, same deal as before. She gets 1 yellow, 1 blue die. Let's see what she rolls. Sorry, I have to move everything over here for flipping over the character card. All right, so let's see what she gets. She only needs 4 range, so she got 5, 7 range, but 2 damage against the 3 defense. This is looking pretty rough. There's nothing she can do because there's no surges. So yeah, that is the end of Chalara's turn and the hero's turn as well. At the beginning of the Overlord turn, they get to draw a card. It's another tripwire. And they also get to get 1 fatigue for the Goblin Archer by the Caravan. This brings it up to 4. They're kind of, I think they can win this turn, so they're going to activate all their goblins. So this one's just going to go 1, 2, 3. So that's that goblin. This goblin's going to stay here. This one's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. And then this goblin, I guess that's all that they need. Yep. So the Overlord ends the turn. This adds up to 7 fatigue, so the Overlord wins this particular first scenario. If there are 7 fatigue tokens in the Overlord's play area, read the following aloud. You are forced to take up a defensive position away from the wagon. By the time you rally a few brave members of the clergy for a counterattack, your enemy has disappeared. You help the survivors sift through the wreckage for the next few minutes, but everything of value is gone. The Overlord wins. Rewards: win or lose, each player gets 1 experience. If the Overlord wins, which they do, they receive 1 additional experience, and the heroes have to discard all but 1 with villager. Then the heroes receive 25 gold per villager, so it's just the 25. And then the winner gets to choose Siege of Sky Tower or Religar's Rest for the next scenario. So we're going to go ahead and record that and show you in just a moment. All right, so this is what the hero experience looks like. Everyone gets 1. The heroes have 75 gold because they got 50 gold from the items they searched for. Overlord gets 2 experience and has 3 threat. So we are going to do shopping next. So we are going to flip over 5 cards from the shop. Lucky Charm. Exhaust this card to reroll an attribute test. You must keep the new results. They're not rich enough for this item. They can sell starting items for 25 gold. Chainmail, 150 gold. Heavy armor, you cannot equip runes. Your speed is reduced to 4 and cannot be increased above 4, but you get another gray die, which is really good for defense. Still not enough to purchase that. Magic staff right here, a blue and a red, which is pretty good for a staff. Deal 1 damage to another monster within 3 spaces of the target, so a little bit of an area of effect. It's ranged. Also can add another range because without the yellow die, you're going to have a harder chance of hitting range, but that's a pretty good staff. Still, they're 2 broke. They have an iron battle axe. This one gets a blue and a red. It gets an automatic pierce. It is 2-handed. It can use a search to do more damage and then get another pierce. The Grisban might purchase this one. We'll see what else pops up. Let's see right here. We then have an iron spear, which they can afford. It's 1 hand, which is nice. It has reach. It does blue and yellow, so not as much damage. The red does more damage, but it also has the chance to pierce. So yeah, this one's kind of okay. I don't think anyone needs the spear. Maybe the oak staff could be exchanged for this to do more piercing, I guess. It's the kind of the same as the staff. But I think the iron battle axe is going to be pretty good here because of the 1 surge for 2 damage versus the just 2 surges for 1 damage each. So yeah, we're going to sell this for 25 gold, and then Grisban gets the iron battle axe, and that is all of the hero's gold. So we're going to go ahead and mark that. Give me a second. So yeah, their gold goes down to 0. It's kind of worth it, nothing too crazy. Now we have to look at spending experience points. So we will start with Tatianna. Right, so Tatianna has 1 experience to spend. She doesn't have to spend it. She can get accurate. Each time you perform an attack with a bow, you may reroll 1 power die, which I believe is the blue die, which is going to be pretty good. She hasn't used any of her fatigue yet. Right here, Danger Sense. Exhaust this card to force the Overlord to discard one Overlord card from his hand at random. This could be really good because the Overlord cards were kind of crushing the heroes last game. And then Eagle Eyes, when you perform an attack with a bow, friendly figures do not block your line of sight. This wasn't a big deal. I don't know if I actually messed that up, but I don't think this was a big deal because you can do corner from corner. So that one's not as big of a deal. Accurate each time. I'm still thinking about it. Re-rolling so there's no more misses is always good. But this is pretty good. I think she's going to grab Danger Sense right there. So that's going to cost 1 experience. So let's go ahead and mark that down right here. So she's down to 0. You don't have to spend your experience, but I think the heroes weren't doing well. So we are going to go to Challara next. Challara gets to decide between these 3. She has 1 experience. She doesn't have to spend it. Ghost Armor. After you roll defense dice when attacked, use this card to add 1 defense to the result for 1 fatigue. That's not too bad. She wasn't really attacked too much in the first scenario, but I don't think I played her well. So that's kind of on the table. Any weapon you equip gains the rune trait while equipped. I don't need that right now because the weapon I have is a rune. So that's kind of if you want to do like some weird sword or something else that's normally not a rune. An exploding rune, perform an attack with a rune weapon. The attack gains blast, which hits everyone next to your targets. They don't even need line of sight anymore, but it can hit friendly figures. But this seems like a pretty good one, especially because we're playing 4 players. There's going to be actually a lot of minions to attack. So I'm going to spend experience for exploding rune right there. So let's go ahead and record the experience spent and go on to Ashrian next. Ashrian gets to pick her skill next. She doesn't have to spend an experience, but she probably is going to. Drain Spirit, perform an attack. If you do at least 1 damage after rolling defense dice, each hero within 3 spaces of you, including yourself, recovers 1. That's really good. I like that one. Shared Pain, perform an attack. If you deal at least 1 damage after rolling defense dice, each other figure in the target monster's group suffers 1 health. This is really good as well. This is kind of a close call. In Healing Rain, this is going to cost 2 fatigue. Roll 1 red power die. Each hero within 3 spaces of you, including yourself, recovers hearts equal to the hearts rolled. Oh, this is pretty rough. Like, I really want to do extra damage here, but I think we were having healing issues, so Healing Rain could be good. But I'm constantly using her stone skin, so I don't think I have like 2 fatigue to give up often. So I think I might. It's tough between Shared Pain and Drain Spirit. I think I'm gonna grab Drain Spirit just to make sure. I don't know. This is, like I said, this is pretty rough. I'm going to grab Drain Spirit to do attacks and then start healing everyone within 3. Just a little bit seems to be good. So we're going to grab that and spend the 1 experience point. That was a tough call. I actually like all of those. We can get them over the course of the campaign, but just going to pick one right now. Remember, all that stuff costs fatigue, so you need to find a way to get more fatigue as the campaign goes on. All right, Grisban is the last one to potentially spend his experience, then the Overlord with threat and experience as well. All right, these are the options for Grisban with 1 experience. Cripple, exhaust this card during your turn to choose a monster adjacent to you and test might. If you pass, the monster is immobilized. He has 5 might, so it's most likely to immobilize, which stops them from moving. But I don't know, that's 2 fatigue, and I was using his fatigue a lot for rage, so I don't really like that just because the fatigue is too expensive. Brute, you gain 4 health whenever you stand up or are revived by another hero. You recover 2 additional health. He wasn't really being attacked too much, so like, I mean, this is good overall for 1 experience for health, but like the Overlord gets to decide who attacks who, so I don't really like that much. Counterattack, after an adjacent monster resolves an attack that affects you, exhaust this card to perform an attack with a melee weapon against the attacking monster. After this attack is resolved, if the monster was not defeated, it may continue its activation. I don't really like this one as well, so I'm actually going to save his experience. I saw there's like a charge because he was having issues with moving. I'm gonna try to grab the charge because the Overlord had a lot of traps for Grisban, so we're gonna save the experience right there, and then we're gonna go on to the Overlord. There's a lot of different options the Overlord can choose for new cards. These are the ones I'm thinking about. Dark Resilience, play this card on a monster during your turn. Roll 2 red dice, the monster recovers health. That one's pretty good, but it's universal, which means there are other decks like Saboteur, Magus, and Warlord, and if you get universal, it doesn't allow you to get to the higher level of these cards. So Magus, one right here, Word of Pain, play this card at the end of your turn. Each hero tests a might. Each hero who fails suffers a heart. So this is great because it's just going to whittle them down slowly. I kind of like that one a lot. Web Trap, play this card when a hero enters an empty space. That hero and each hero adjacent to them tests Might, each hero who fails is immobilized. That's pretty brutal. And then Blood Rage, plays a card at the end of your turn and choose a monster. That monster immediately performs 2 attack actions, but then is defeated itself. This is good for a monster that has very low health. So I think I'm actually going to spend the 2 experience points to actually grab Word of Pain right here, just to whittle down some more damage. Actually, I'm going to grab Dark Resilience as well. I like the healing. The healing is going to be pretty brutal for the heroes. So we're going to grab those 2 and add them to the deck. This deck, you're going to bring it down to 15 cards after the Overlord reads the scenario. And then for the threat tokens, we're going to spend, oops, sorry, let's move these out of the way. We're going to spend 2 for Veteran Council. Exhaust this card after setup of an encounter. At the end of this encounter, gain 1 threat token for each master monster remaining on the map to a maximum of 3. This does not refresh as normal. Refreshes at the end of each quest. You got to spend 1 to activate it. So this is just a good way to get a bunch of threats in addition to the other ways to get threat, like defeating heroes or just getting some at the end of the scenario. So that brings us down, or the Overlord down to 1 threat and no experience. So that is the end of this step. We will proceed to the next quest.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Good night.